Hi, I'm Amy, and I played a prank that went horribly wrong. My best friend Lara hates this one actor who's on a TV show we both watch. She thinks he's so annoying. So, on Valentine's Day, I thought it would be funny to take her phone and put a fake message on it from that actor saying, "I love you. Will you be my Valentine?" We sit beside each other in history class, so I waited until she went to the bathroom, and our teacher, Mr. Peters, wasn't looking. Then, I snagged her phone and went to her messages. I was all set to put the Valentine's message on there when I saw she already had a Valentine's message in her text from a person called Louis. I didn't know any Louis from our school. Was she dating someone from another school and hadn't told me? I knew I shouldn't, but I glanced through some of the messages. They got more and more explicit. Some of them talked about how they couldn't wait to see each other after class. She made a joke, at least I hope it was a joke, about how she hoped he'd give her an A if she came over to his house tonight. Then, as I was looking, a response from Louis came in saying, "It depends. There's going to be a quiz, and you'll have to show me what you've learned." I looked up, and Mr. Peters was at his desk typing on his phone. That's when I realized that Louis in Lara's text was Mr. Peters. I quickly put Lara's phone back in her bag. I was horrified. I mean, yeah, Mr. Peters was young and kind of cute, but teachers went to jail for dating high school students. I didn't want to be some goody-goody, and maybe some part of me was kind of jealous that Lara had an older man interested in her, but also, I thought Mr. Peters was taking advantage of her. And what if he abused his power in other ways? They might be joking about it now, but what if he made Lara do things she wasn't comfortable with in order to get good grades? I couldn't concentrate for the rest of the day. I knew I had to talk to Lara. But she would be so pissed that I looked at her messages, and she probably wouldn't listen to me. She was my best friend and I loved her, but she could be really stubborn. I tried to bring it up after school, saying I wished I had a date for Valentine's Day. She said she wished she had one too. I asked her to come over to my house tonight, but she made some dumb excuse for why she couldn't. I went to her house that evening, after it got dark, and waited across the street. I saw a car pull up several houses down, and then Lara came outside in a bright red sexy dress and hurried over to the car. It was dark out, but in the light that came on when Kara opened the door, I saw Lara and Mr. Peters kiss. Then they drove off. I felt sick. That night, I looked up news stories about teacher-student relationships. Teachers dating high school students was statutory rape, and they could get in huge trouble for it. I didn't want to mess things up for Lara if she was happy, but also, what Mr. Peters was doing was illegal. I finally decided to tell Miss Nice, the guidance counselor. She and I had a really good relationship, and I figured I could trust her to keep a secret and give good advice about how to talk to Lara. But when I told her what I discovered, she said she had to report it. I begged her not to, telling her I thought our sessions were confidential. But she said confidentiality didn't apply in this case and that the safety of the students was the most important thing. If Lara found out what I did, she would have killed me. Miss Nice said I could remain anonymous, but nothing would prepare me for the following weeks. Mr. Peters got suspended and the police were investigating his phone records. Lara went AWOL. We didn't see her for days and she wasn't answering our texts or calls. When she did come back, she looked like hell and cried all the time. I finally got her to spill the beans, and she told me that she had been in love with Louis and that she wanted to spend her life with him. "I just don't know how anyone found out," she said. "We tried to be so careful." I tried to be sympathetic, but that's hard when you're panicking. Had I ruined my best friend's life? Had I ruined her life? Or had I protected her? I felt like such a coward for hiding the fact that I had told. She hugged me and thanked me for not judging her and said, "You're my best friend, Ames. I don't know what I would do without you." Now, our relationship has gotten really weird. I can't just hang out with her like normal anymore. She's sad all the time, and I know it's all my fault. I feel so guilty. Do you have any advice for me? Should I risk it all and tell her that it was me that told on her? I feel like I was just helping her out, but I'm not so sure anymore.